for an aircraft to be able to operate properly as it should, there are a number of systems incorporated on an aircraft. For the pilot to be able to monitor the state or to know how these systems are performing, there is need for various instruments or indicators to these systems to enable the pilots to monitor the continuous operation of these systems. In this video today, we're going to look at various systems instruments that are found on an aircraft. So, welcome. We start by looking on the analog indication for various systems that are found on an aircraft. These analog indicators are either located on the overhead panel or on the main instrument panel, then also on the pedestal of an aircraft. In modern aircraft, the indication is through the ECAS on some aircraft, and on some other aircraft is called ECAM. ECAS is engine indicating and crew alerting system. And on some aircraft that are fitted with the ECAM, it is electronic centralized aircraft monitoring system. So we'll start by looking on the analog indicators that are found on an aircraft. And like you see in this picture here, we have an aircraft which has various instruments. As you can see, we have the flight instruments here. Most of them are analog instruments, also called mechanical. And as you can see, we have flight instruments which are duplicated on the left side and on the right side. We also have the engine instruments on the center, and we have various instruments for the various systems that are found on an aircraft. Remember, we've said these systems instruments are located on the overhead panel, some on the main instrument panel, and some on the pedestal. As you can see in this picture, there are two instruments here on the overhead panel. There's some instruments here on the main instrument panel, and on some aircrafts, though we cannot see on this picture, we have some instruments, some system instruments located here on the pedestal on an aircraft. So those are the prime location of various system instruments on an aircraft. The typical systems that are found on an aircraft are as follows. We have the air conditioning system, we have the electrical system, we have the flight control, we have the fuel system, hydraulic system, we have the ice and rain protection system, we have the indicating and recording system, we have the landing gear, we have the oxygen system, we have the pneumatic system, and we have the doors. So these are just the basic systems, the typical systems that are found on most aircrafts. This can vary from different aircraft to aircraft, but on most aircrafts, you are likely to get the instruments that I've listed as the typical instruments on most aircraft. The analog indicators that are found on an aircraft on the overhead panel, I have some examples here for some. You can see this instrument here is for air conditioning system of an aircraft. It shows the temperature in degrees centigrade, and you can see the left indication is for the cockpit temperature, and the right indication is for the cabin temperature. At the bottom, we have a voltmeter that shows the voltage being produced by the generator of the aircraft. This, as you can see, is a DC indicator, and it shows the voltage on this side being produced by the generator, and it shows the current produced by the same generator. On the right here, we have a picture that shows the hydraulic system indicators. And as you can see on this particular aircraft, you have two hydraulic systems. You have the green system and you have the blue system. This top gauge or indicator indicates the quantity of fluid in the hydraulic system. The bottom indicator is for the hydraulic pressure for the particular hydraulic system. You have for the green system, this one is in PSI, and as you can see, the pointer is pointing at number 3. This shows that this system has 3,000 PSI, or the pressure for the green system is 3,000, and the same for the blue systems, 3,000 PSI. Also, we have an indicator for the oxygen system. You can see it's also in PSI, and it shows the oxygen pressure on this particular aircraft. As you can see, this one is about 1400 PSI. We have a flap indicator. This indicates if the flap is deployed and up to what point or the degree at which the flap is extended or retracted. So when the pointer is pointing at 15 degrees, you know the flap is extended up to 15 degrees. If it's pointing to 25, the flap is extended 25 degrees, and so forth up to 45 degrees. We also have EGT indicator and RPM indicator. These indicators is for the APU, an auxiliary power unit. An auxiliary power unit is an engine, but as used on an aircraft, it is not used for thrust production. An APU is used to provide electrical energy and pneumatic energy. That is the only purpose of the auxiliary power unit. And that is why we did not look at the APU indicators when we are looking at engine instruments, because we don't classify it as an engine because it's not producing thrust. And we see the exhaust gas temperature. It shows the temperature of the exhaust gas of an APU. It's an analog indicator. It is in degrees centigrade. And the RPM, this one is in percentage. It shows the revolution or the RPM of the APU compressor. So all these are analog indicators found on an aircraft. On modern aircrafts, we have an ECAS, like I've told you. On some aircraft we have ECAS, on some other aircraft we have an ECAM. These systems are used to indicate different system pages, called hypnotic pages. For example, you can see this is a page for air conditioning system, and the indication being given here is the temperature in the front, in the cockpit, in the forward cabin, and in the aft cabin. Temperature is in degrees centigrade. It also shows if a valve is closed or open. This can be indicated on the indicator of the particular system. And we also look at the cabin pressurization, and this is the indicator found on a modern aircraft that uses maybe an ECAM or ECAS. You can see we have a differential pressure indicator here. We have the cabin rate of climb or descent indicator. We have the cabin altitude indicator. This indication also is provided to show if the safety valve is open or closed, and the outflow valve as well. And if an outflow valve is open, it also shows up to what extent the outflow valve is open or closed. Next indication we're going to look at is electrical. This is the electrical page on an ECAM or an ECAS aircraft, or air system that on an aircraft that uses this type of system. We have the voltage indication for the batteries. We have two batteries. We have the generators indication. It shows the voltage being produced by the generators and the frequency of the voltage being produced by these generators. We also have the transformer rectifiers, the voltage being produced by the transformer rectifiers and the current. Next picture we have for the fuel system. This basically shows us the system into the various tanks on an aircraft. We have the left tank and the right tank and the center tank. It shows the amount of fuel in the respective tanks. And it also shows the valves from the tanks to the feeding system, maybe to the engine or to the APU. It shows if the valve is open or closed. If the crossfeed valve also is opened or closed on some aircraft, there's an indication provided for the crossfeed valve. This is for the flight control system, and it shows the spoilers, if the spoilers or speed brakes, if they're extended or retracted. It shows the aileron, if it's up or down, right aileron. You can see the elevator, if it's up or down, and the rudder, if to the left or to the right. So this is all the indication for the flight control system. And see the hydraulic system. In this aircraft, we have three hydraulic systems. We have the green system, the blue system, and the yellow system. The pressure for these systems is indicated here. We also see the quantity of the fluid in the reservoir for these hydraulic systems. The next indication is for the bleed air, or also pneumatics. It shows the various valves from the source. The high pressure, you can see from the low pressure. This valve is in the open position, and this one as well. The right side, the valves are in the closed position. The APU bleed valve is in the closed position. The temperature of the bleed air is indicated here. So basically, all the basic systems, the basic status of the system of a particular system are indicated in the respective system page. We also have a door system. It indicates the status of the doors. If the door is opened or closed, you can be able to see this by going to the door page on an ECAM or the ECAS. For example, if the avionics compartment door is open, you'll see an amber indication here, and this will indicate to the pilot that the avionics compartment is not locked and proper action should be taken. This is the APU indication. You remember we've seen two analog indication for the APU where an exhaust gas temperature is indicated, and then we also saw the RPM. Now for an aircraft that has an ECAM on modern aircraft, we have the RPM indicated here in percentage and the exhaust gas temperature in degrees centigrade. We also have the status of the APU generator, if it's the voltage being produced by the generator and the frequency of the voltage being produced. We also have the bleed air being produced by the APU. See if the bleed valve is closed or open. Like in this particular case, the bleed valve is open. And we see the pressure of the bleed being supplied by the APU. This is what we had for you for the system indication or indicators. Thank you for watching the video till the end. See you in the next video.